The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome all to the MIIM webinar on electronics industry. I would like to invite Mr. Manish Chauhan from Embassy of India to introduce the MIIM program and give introductory remarks.
Hello, good morning to you all. On behalf of our embassy, I convey a warm welcome to all of you, including the speakers, to this webinar, which focuses on the topic opportunities in electronics manufacturing in India. As we all know, India is one of the largest electronics market in the world, anticipated to reach $400 billion by 2025. India's share in global electronics manufacturing has grown from 1.3% in 2012 to 3% in 2018. Technology transitions such as the rollout of 5G networks and IoT are driving the accelerated adoption of electronics products. Initiatives such as Digital India and Smart City projects have raised the demand for IoT in the market and will undoubtedly usher in a new era for electronics products. To convert the intent on part of the German business community into actual investments in India, we from the Embassy of India, Berlin, had initiated a dedicated and strategic program in 2015 called the Make in India Mittelstand. The program is India's red card for the German Mittelstand. The program is run on behalf of our embassy by our knowledge partner, Euro-Asia Consulting, and supported by a network of competent partners such as Rodel & Partner, Ketan & Co. as the tax and legal partner, IGCC as a partner chamber, Deutsche Bank, KfW-DEG, and SBI as financing partner, Global Innovation and Technology Alliance of CII as technology partner, and many state governments in India. The program's partner offer expert services in the field of investment consulting, tax and legal, financial services, and project financing for market entry and expansion. MIIM also provides free of cost benefits of special workshops, networking, information exchange, etc. Invest India, the official government agency for investment promotion, is also a program partner who assists with regulations and permissions issued to facilitate investments. With this, I would like to give you the current status of the MIIM program. We have currently 148 onboarded MIIM member companies, which are purely German Mittelstand and family-owned enterprises, with a declared investment of 1.4 billion euros. Under the MIIM program, our MIIM team would be happy to roll out its support to more German Mittelstand companies which are interested to do business in India. Thank you, and over to you, Ketan.
Thank you, Manish. Now we would like to invite Mr. Unmesh Lohite. He is a principal from Euro-Asia Consulting, heading Industrial and Operational Excellence Practice at ESE Mumbai office. Mr. Lohite is a mechanical engineer by basic qualification and also has an MBA in marketing, as well as completed his SCM certificate course from IIT Mumbai. He has overall 15 years of experience in market strategy, operational excellence topics, including strategic sourcing, localization, benchmarking, digitization, and Industry 4.0, as well as distribution. So he will be presenting the opportunities in India in electronics manufacturing. Unmesh, I'm just sharing, I'm just making you presenter. You can share your screen.
Yeah. Thank you, Ketan. Just want to check if you can see the screen.
Yes, right, Unmesh, go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Ketan, for a very good introduction. Thanks, Manish, also for introduction of the electronics industry, and the background makes a very good base. So greetings to all the dignitaries, presenters, and a warm welcome to all the participants in the webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, electronic industry has faced a lot of impact during the COVID of supply chain disruptions, production halts, resulting in losses for the marketplace in current COVID. Today, we target to provide you a flashback on pre-COVID status of electronic industry, impact of COVID on the industry, and transparency, importantly, on the opportunities in electronics manufacturing in India, highlighting the transition or transformation the industry is expected to go through. Also, I would like to underline how ESE can support investors in India in participating in this dynamic industry segment. So moving on, talking about the COVID the electronics industry in India, we will deal it in 3 phases: pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID, as you see on the screen. So moving on, in the pre-COVID, or the COVID lockdown impact. Talking about its impact, India has 8.3 million confirmed cases, while 6.3 million has been cured, discharged, and decline in number of COVID cases recently. Unlock procedures has been declared across states with SOPs and procedures defined for manufacturing operations. COVID led to supply chain disruptions, directly impacted manufacturing output with GDP contraction of 24%, and the gross value addition minimized by 39%. However, the unlock procedures with safety norms have led to recovery in manufacturing output in the recent past. What we also would like to show you the electronic industry development. We will, of course, deep dive into each of these phases going further. So the electronic industry is witnessing strong growth in value addition from mere import and assembly of PCB, mobile devices, and consumer electronics during pre-COVID, wherein market players are planning to localize the supply chains and targeting to become a global manufacturing hub in India for component localization, for consumer electronics, or say front-end semiconductor manufacturing, medical electronics, solar cells. So a lot of initiatives have been announced, majorly driven by recent de-risking strategies by market players. So going further, let's now understand the complete background of first the pre-COVID, how the industry was placed, then the impact of COVID, and of course then the opportunities post-COVID for the industry. So pre-COVID phase, India had potential, as also Mr. Manish said, electronics market as well as the component market, with rising manufacturing opportunities for mobile phones, set-top boxes, power electronics, with significant imports majorly of active electronic components. So electronic industry is progressively developing into an ecosystem for digital transformation, hardware, mobile devices, and consumer electronics, as driven by digitization and IoT. So Mr. Manish mentioned. So with this particular background and being a pretty significant potential for being a very significant player in this particular industry, let's understand the structure of this particular industry. So it is characterized is majorly characterized by assembly units with limited front-end manufacturing, but with competence in design for leading global companies, along with rising demand of electronic products for technology transitions, such as 5G, what we see. Industry has mid to low value add potential currently with more than 3,500 units, primarily for say packaging or material or electrical components, compressors, low-end motors, and so on. Also, observing the manufacturing landscape on the next page, what we see, major electronic manufacturing companies of say consumer, industrial electronics, and electronic components are concentrated in the southern part of India. Well, mobile phone manufacturing is in north, wherein 12 SEZs are dedicated to electronics hardware, while 80% of Indian electronics production comprise of mid to low value addition. Moving to the next page, this summarizes the overall situation pretty nicely. Value addition by the electronics and industry has been focused on assembly operations of imported components, wherein key opportunities for localization and supply chain de-risking existed. Costs associated with import duties on component sourcing, taxation has triggered the value addition to the final product as a key opportunity for OEMs to increase supply chain agility, mitigate risk, and optimize overall production cost. So if we look at even the exports of Indian market, these were characterized by growth in exports from 12 to 19, primarily with courtesy the mobile phone exports from the Indian market. The import duties which has triggered the localization, and there is also a steady increase of exports from the market, really underlining the capability of the Indian market in terms of competence. Yeah. Now let's consider the COVID phase in next stage, what impact it had on the industry. Yeah, so COVID-19 pandemic outbreak has formulated new business opportunities in the electronic industries in terms of shifting the operations to alternate destinations such as India to have business stability, reliability, and sustainable ecosystem. So no more the prerogative is mere cost optimization. The business think tanks are already considering reliability and sustainability or alternative destinations for their supply chains. But in India exhibits high potential as an alternate destination for electronics manufacturing on the account of strong government focus, localization capabilities, and developing relevant ecosystem. So talking about government, let's consider the government's role, say in next page. Yeah. Indian government very actively under National Policy on Electronics 2019 is offering special incentives focusing on electronics manufacturing, such as production linked incentive scheme with 4 to 6% production linked incentives for 5 years. The next scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors with financial incentives of 25% on capex, and modified electronics manufacture cluster schemes. So aggressive on manufacturing front. And moving on to the next page, we are considering the industry investment in India status. So with Indian government support and incentives for manufacturing, huge investment plans have been witnessed or announced from across the globe for setting up manufacturing facility, majorly for mobile phones and component manufacturing, wherein state governments are focused on developing the relevant ecosystem for manufacturing in India, with as much as around 3,500 acres of electronics manufacturing clusters approved for greenfield in more than 10 states. Yeah, just to highlight some of the states and what sort of policies they are talking about, we go on to the next page, wherein Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, so as attractive locations in south and north respectively for some of the key attractive destinations for electronics manufacturing on account of policies and subsidy offerings, wherein Tamil Nadu offers location-based incentives as per investment value, while Uttar Pradesh capital subsidy and interest subsidy. So this is based on a lot of other parameters. There are district-wise variation in incentives, say particularly in Tamil Nadu for ABC, depending on the investment value and other consideration. But overall, fueling the triggers for manufacturing in India. Yeah, it's all a welcome message from the Indian market for the investors. And lastly, moving on to say the post-COVID opportunities and taking a look at some success cases, just to underline the points what we are talking about. Next page, electronic industry. The manufacturing opportunity. So electronic industry, as I said earlier, is in the transformation stage. If we look from a point of view and witnessing the transition in the recent past with the current pandemic situation, fueling the development of making India the global electronics hub. Indian market has opened up with opportunities for foreign investment, wherein the focus is shifting towards front-end manufacturing from assembly, value-add infrastructure and capabilities. So a high potential for OEM now to set up capacities on account of favorable factor conditions, increasing demand, as well as government focus and initiatives such as Atmanirbhar Bharat and related incentives. Taking a look also on some of the categories, let's see, since the country has evolved from, say, only development in consumer electronics in the 60s and imports of TVs from 80s to now we are talking about, say, assembly and import dependency, and now we are moving towards front-end manufacturing hub. What sort of categories are we talking about? So in the next page, what we are talking about is as we say, we were focused on assembly of components majorly imported from, say, China or Southeast Asia. Now with all the dynamics in the industry and government focus and initiatives, there are key opportunities across target categories such as semiconductor manufacturing, front-end manufacturing and fabless setup for components, or consumer electronics, sales and distribution or sales or localization related activities, medical electronics devices. So strong government push here, including imaging equipment and health informatics. Continuing on next page, mobile devices for component manufacturing, LED, LCD manufacturing, growing demand over here as well. Solar cells and modules manufacturing, high domestic demand for solar cells and modules on account of COVID-induced supply demand gaps. So a whole host of opportunities are on offer in this, and let's consider some cases on next page as per information available in public domain. Over here talking about two major industry players, Samsung and Wistron. So the supply chain and de-risking or import restrictions and production incentives are the key drivers for the major OEMs to set up facilities for components and final product assembly in India. So a player, say Samsung, entered display manufacturing with investments of 600 million euro for greenfield display manufacturing in Noida to support economies of scale for smartphone manufacturing to enhance cost competitiveness. Whereas if you look at Wistron, what we can reduce is its expanded manufacturing presence to de-risk its supply chain and reduce single source dependence on Chinese imports by investment of, say, 112 million euro for the new plant. So given all the perspective of the pre-COVID limited capabilities for assembly to the major impact faced during the COVID of supply chain bottlenecks and production halts, then a conscious decision by market players for localizing the supply chains in India in electronics and supported by the government push and in initiatives, we see tremendous opportunities in this particular segment of electronics. And lastly, moving on to shortly on EAC service and offerings and talking about EAC support options. EAC supports its client to address their business challenges via a high structure approach to arrive at post-COVID business advisory and implementation solutions comprising market potential assessment, go-to-market strategy, location feasibility assessment, location setup, localization and sourcing, as well as into sales implementation support. Our expertise are from 25 years of operating experience, supporting European clients and specializing in Asia with strategy development and globalization solutions for mid-cap and multinational companies. We support our clients with our functional competence in strategy, M&A, and operational excellence across our industry competence in mobility, industrials and technology, building and construction, energy and environment, pharma and healthcare, chemicals, consumer goods, and exhibition. With that, I would conclude my speech and will be keen to take on the questions or mails to resolve your queries. I would thank all the participation and for your patient listening, and would hand it over back to Mr. Ketan. Thank you, and wishing you all the success for India investment.
Thank you, Unmesh, for covering all the status quo of electronics manufacturing in India pre-COVID, post-COVID. And now we would like to invite Invest India for the presentation on government policies on electronics manufacturing. Invest India is a national investment promotion and facilitation agency of India under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It handholds investors in their investment journey, including establishing, operating, and expanding their business in India. Invest India also provides comprehensive facilitation, including strategic business advisory, policy guidance, location assessment, issue readdressal, and expansion support. Invest India is an execution agency for Government of India's Make in India and Startup India initiatives. We have two representatives from Invest India. One is Mr. Vastal Khullar, and second is Mr. Lakshya Sharma, who is Lakshya Sharma is a part of ESGM team at Invest India, the national, and he also been instrumental in building the India investment pipeline along with conceptualizing incentive policies and structural reforms for electronic sector. Lakshya has background of chemical engineering and received his undergraduate from BITS Palani. So Lakshya, I'm just shifting the presentation rights to you. You can share your screen and start the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ketan Yadav. Good morning, everyone joining us today. As Mr. Jadhav mentioned, Invest India is the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency, and I represent the Germany team, and my colleague here, Lakshya, represents the electronics team. Germany and India are two partners with a formidable relationship which goes back decades, and German companies have been investing in India since pre-independence times. Lakshya, can we move to the next slide, please? Germany is the 7th largest investor in India. And between 2000 and 2020, we've had 12 billion worth of investment flowing in from Germany to India. As Invest India, we've actually seen a lot of business requests and interest being evinced by German companies in investing in India. On the left side of your screen, as you can see, the business requests or the interest is spread across different sectors. We receive requests in the automotive industry related to the capital goods sector, construction, electronics, renewable energy, just to name a few. We have about 1,600 German companies currently present in India, and there is an ever widening interest and a larger development of the ecosystem for German companies that's happening. There is, just to name a few key German players that currently are present in India. Siemens, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, has been present in India since 1870s. It was the company that laid the first telegraph line between London and then capital of India, Calcutta, which is now known as Kolkata. We have key players like Beiersdorf, Allianz, BASF, Adidas, Bayer, just to name a few. And these are just a handful of names to indicate the kind of presence we have of German companies in India and the ecosystem. Lakshya, can you move to the next slide, please? The German companies in India have witnessed extreme success. As just to take up a few examples, on your left-hand side, you can see that Siemens, the growth in share price and eventually value to shareholders has been much greater in the Indian subsidiary when compared to the global parent. And similarly, the return on capital employed for Siemens has been far greater for the Indian subsidiary than the global parent, which shows how the German companies have witnessed greater growth and development in the Indian market. For instance, on the right-hand side, you can see Bosch operates the largest R&D center outside Germany in India. It has 18 manufacturing plants, 31,000 employees, and across the R&D center and across its different facilities, it has over 18,000 R&D engineers. Lakshya, can we move to the next slide, please? As Invest India, we have been working very closely, Germany being a focus country for India. There are special mechanisms that have been institutionalized to improve the ecosystem and improve the experience that German companies have in India. One such mechanism is the Indo-German fast track mechanism, set up in 2015 between during the intergovernmental consultations between Chancellor Merkel and Honorable Prime Minister Modi. The idea is that any issues that German companies face in India is taken up and proactively resolved under the Indo-German fast track mechanism. The second one, the second initiative, the Make in India Metal Strand, needs no introduction. We've already, Mr. Manish Chauhan and Mr. Ketan Jadhav has introduced the MIIM initiative. And Invest India is also the official ambassador for GINSEP, which is the German India Startup Exchange Program. So with this, I'll hand over to my colleague Lakshay to talk more about the electronic component manufacturing ecosystem and the policy initiatives taken by the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Vatsal. Thank you, Ketan, for the kind introduction. Good morning, everybody. I'm Laksh. I'm part of the ESDM team at Invest India. So I'll briefly talk about the ESDM sector in India and then move in detail about the policies and incentives offered by the government of India. So the ESDM story of India began to take place in the last 5 to 6 years. Especially with the Make in India campaign in 2015, the India's domestic electronics production has gone up consistently during this period. And we have been able not only to flatten the curve of our imports, but also increase our export. And also according to the national policy of electronics, India aims to become a $400 billion market by 2025. So coming to the schemes, on April 1, 2020, Government of India released 3 major schemes for electronics manufacturing. Each scheme targeted a particular segment of the electronics manufacturing. The scheme was given incentive outlay of about $7 billion, which to my mind was the largest incentive ever given to a sector under these schemes. So the PLI scheme actually targeted the mobile phone manufacturing, SPEC scheme targeted the component manufacturing, and EMC scheme targeted the infrastructure and common facilities for electronics manufacturing. So coming to the first scheme, that the production linked incentive scheme, it's an input-based scheme which provided 4 to 6% of incentive on the incremental sales of manufactured goods. The scheme targeted mobile phones and electronic components. The first phase of the application under the scheme was finished on 31st July 2020. We, however, are in the process of deliberation to open the scheme again for round 2, specifically focusing on the component manufacturing. Under the scheme, in the first round, we received a very enthusiastic response from the electronics industry. 16 applicants were approved under the scheme. 5 in the global mobile phones, 5 in the domestic mobile phones, and 6 in the electronic components. The scheme saw participation from global contract manufacturing giants like Foxconn, Pegatron, Rising Star, and Wistron. The second scheme was the scheme for promotion of electronic components and semiconductors. It's an input-based scheme providing 25% incentive on the capital expenditure, including plant and machinery, equipment, R&D, utilities, and transfer of technology. The scheme is open for application till 2023, and an applicant can make the capital investment till 5 years from the date of application. The third scheme is the Modified Electronics Manufacturing Cluster Scheme. Under the scheme, the government intends to make a world-class plug-and-play infrastructure for electronics manufacturing by collaborating with anchor units and providing incentive to the tune of 50% of the project cost for the EMCs and 75% of the project cost for the common facility centers. So besides these 3 major schemes, the next notable scheme is the Customs Bonded Warehouse Scheme. It's a deferred duty scheme. Under this scheme, a company can declare its manufacturing unit as a bonded warehouse, and upon declaration, the customs duty and IGST payable on the import of inputs and capital goods is deferred at the time of entry to the bonded warehouse, and the GST and IG and customs duty is payable on the finished good if the finished good is released to the domestic tariff area, and if the finished good is exported, then the custom duty and IGST is completely waived off under the scheme. So as also highlighted by Unmesh, this is how the India's electronics landscape looked like. Most of the electronics manufacturing is concentrated in southern states. Sri Perumbudur and Chennai in Tamil Nadu, Mysore in the Karnataka, Sri City and Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. We also have R&D hubs in Hyderabad and Bangalore. In the northern, we have Noida, closer to Delhi, and Bawal in Haryana as major electronics hub. So all the central incentives discussed so far are over and above states' incentives. Every major electronic state offer incentive on capital expenditure, power, land, tax reimbursement, skill upgradation, stamp duty exemption, and customized customized incentive for the mega investment. Invest India is closely in touch with all their counterparts in the state administration. So please feel free to reach out for any state-specific query. With regard to the R&D investment, R&D in India has emerged as global R&D hub on the back of a very skilled and technical workforce. We have of the likes of Samsung, Intel, Apple, Amazon's global and their largest R&D hubs outside their home country in India. So coming to the end of my presentation, we have about 50,000 plus startup ecosystem. We are a very young and dynamic, we are a very young country and have a very dynamic startup ecosystem. Startups have played a key role in the electronics manufacturing, providing design, prototyping, and testing services to the electronics manufacturers. We have especially very developed startup ecosystem in the fabless semiconductor ecosystem. So these are the incentives and policies discussed, announced so far. We are also in process of deliberation of releasing other policies, specifically focusing on the semiconductor ecosystem. There is specifically focus on bringing a semiconductor fab in India and a display fab in India. We are also planning to incentivize semiconductor fabless ecosystem, for which the scheme is tentative to be released in the next financial year. I'll wrap up with this one. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Ketan.
Thank you, Vatsal. Thank you, Laksh, for giving us insights on the government policies and focus with respect to electronics industry. Now, I would like to invite Indian state of Tamil Nadu organization, which is TN Guidance. They are basically this is a nodal agency of state of Tamil Nadu in India, which handles investments in electronic sectors in Tamil Nadu. We have Mr. Sajid Sadiq and Mr. Sarin from Guidance Tamil Nadu. Mr. Sajid, I am just making you presenter. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, Mr. Sajid, you can proceed.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. Thank you, everyone. Guten Tag to everyone in Germany, and good afternoon to the people in India. My name is Sajad. Joining me is my colleague Sarin, who's a Senior Vice President of Guidance. Guidance is an investment promotion nodal agency of Tamil Nadu, which actively promotes investments and ensures ease of doing business. And we are also involved in activities related to the economic development of the state. We are responsible for hand-holding investors from location identification to policy redressal, initiating operations, and also aftercare. So I'll give you take you through a presentation which explains the electronics ecosystem in Tamil Nadu. To give you a brief about Tamil Nadu is the second largest economy in India, which contributes to the 8% of the national GDP, which is also equivalent to the 46th largest economy in the world. We have a population of 70 million people, which contributes 6% of the share of India's population. The state has 3 major seaports and 19 minor seaports. We also have 6 international airports. Tamil Nadu has the highest number of factories in India and is also home to 62 of the Fortune 500 companies. we are the highest urbanized state in the country. More than 50% of the state is urbanized. We also have a power capacity of 30 gigawatt. We are a power surplus state. So Tamil Nadu is the second largest electronics manufacturing state in India. We are the third in electronics export from the country. The electronics production in Tamil Nadu constitutes more than 16% of the national production. So our electronic cluster stretches from the south to the north of Tamil Nadu. So if you see in the northern, near Chennai, we have a good electronics cluster. This is where companies like Foxconn, Dell, Samsung, BYD, Salcom is all has set up their plant. We also have a good ecosystem in the south, where the auto electronics is very prominent. If you see cities like Coimbatore and Madurai, where the auto electronic system is very strong. We also have towards the western side, we have a district called Krishnagiri, where we have companies like Delta Electronics is present. These are some of the major electronic companies which are in Tamil Nadu. We have companies like Foxconn, Samsung, Flextronics, HP, Dell, Yamaha Music, and BYD. To take you through the electronics ecosystem in the state, we have a large presence of electronics hardware manufacturing companies. Like I mentioned, we have companies like Salcom, BYD, HP. We also have around more than 20 electronics hardware technology parks in and around the state. The quality of power, we provide doorstep power and water connection to all our industries. We also have skilled manpower. We have more than 1 million graduates who pass out from their colleges every year. We also have a very seamless connectivity by air. So we have around 2,400 weekly flights to and from Tamil Nadu. That's around 540 international flights, as well as more than 1,800 domestic flights weekly. So the government of Tamil Nadu has recently launched an electronics policy in the month of September. So I'll take you through the policy in the coming slides. These are some of the proactive governance measures which the government takes. So Guidance is an organization which was formed by the Industries Department of the Government of Tamil Nadu to promote investments in the state. We also have a single window mechanism where all the companies can get their clearances and approvals in less than a month's time. So all the documents, all the query management could be done online. So we also have a portal called BizBuddy, where if an investor has any grievance, could just go to the portal and raise a grievance there, and the government will solve the issue in less than 20 working days. We are also coming up with a land information portal, which will have all the government as well as the private land information in this. So this will be uploaded after due diligence done by the government. So we have formed a special green channel to fast track approval and clearances for the companies in Tamil Nadu. So the government will ensure that all the companies get all their clearances in less than 30 days. We'll also appoint a senior official exclusively for each investment to handhold all the investments and address any issues faced by them. We also provide all the trunk infrastructure such as water, electricity, power at their doorstep. We also help in facilitating skilled manpower to the companies. Just to take you through the electronics policy, which we recently launched. So we have two categories. We'll categorize the investments into two, which is large and mega. So anything between the investment size of $13 million and $70 million is categorized as large. And anything above 70 million and who employs more than 2,000 is considered as mega. So we provide a capital subsidy up to 25% for large category investments, and we provide up to 30% for mega category investments. We also provide a 50% land cost subsidy for investments which are investing in the Type C category. So Type C is in the southern, are the districts in the southern part of Tamil Nadu. So we provide a 50% land cost subsidy to. We also provide a training subsidy of $75 for male employees and $90 for women employees up to 6 months. We also provide an interest subvention of 5% up to a cap of around 1 crore Indian rupees for mega investments. The other incentives which we provide are, we provide electricity tax exemption 5 years. We provide 25% cost subsidy on the investment made in environmental protection, the effluent treatment plants. We also provide a 50% subsidy on the expenses incurred in patent applications up to around $80,000 US. Just to add to one to this, during the COVID time, Tamil Nadu received fresh investments up to 10 billion US dollars. That is from May to till date. Out of that, 40% of the investments are from electronics. I'm happy to answer any of your questions if you have. That's all from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sajid, for giving us insights on into the Tamil Nadu government state policy on electronics. Now, and Q&A would be after the Wuerth Electronics presentation of Mr. Harsha Aadya. So we have to wait for it. So now I'd like to invite Mr. Harsha Aadya to share the India experience from his industrial experience. He is an electronic engineer with around 30 years of experience in electronic industry, worked in production, engineering, quality, tech support, and customer development areas. Currently, he is working as managing director of Wuerth Electronic India and responsible for 4 divisions, namely CAM, System Engineering, Printed Circuit Boards, and Intelligent Connecting Systems. Has been actively involved in developing ecosystem for engineering colleges to be industry prepared by establishing electronic product development centers at few engineering colleges. Over to you, Mr. Aadya.
Thank you, Ketan.
I have just shared the presentation rights.
Thank you. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Mr. Aadya. Good to go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to all the participants, and also thank you to all the presenters. Thanks to ESE for having me as a presenter. You heard a lot about the incentives that are being provided by the central government and the state governments. What I will do for the next few minutes is take you through the experience of the Wuerth Electronic India, and before that, give you a very short brief of what
Mr. Aadya, you went on mute accidentally.
It's fine now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. So, just to give you a brief about the Wuerth Electronic. Wuerth Electronic is a part of the Wuerth Group, headquartered in Germany. We have a sales turnover of around 14 billion euros. We have more than 200,000 products, and we have 76,000 employees worldwide. We have a very different structure. We are split into 420 companies, and we are present in 80 countries. This is run as a family business since 1945. Coming to Wuerth Electronic specifically, Wuerth Electronic has 3 major divisions. One is the circuit board technology, and we offer all the types of technologies. The second division is the EMCs and the inductive solutions. Here we have a lot of EMC components, capacitors, and inductors. And the third division we have is the intelligent connecting systems. So coming to the Indian experience, we started way back in 2005 with around 10 employees. And if you go through the roadmap, in 2007, we became about 30 employees. And in order to grow, we saw that establishing a training center is something that would help us for the organic growth. So we established a training center in Mysore. And then subsequently, we established 3 other divisions, the circuit board technology, and then we also started the computer-aided design and manufacturing, and also another division called the intelligent connecting systems. In 2017, we set up a small production unit in Mysore, and all in all, we have around 275 employees as of today. And we are into the computer-aided manufacturing. We are into circuit board technology, that is the PCBs. We also do the designing and analysis. And we have something known as the intelligent connecting systems, which is a division which caters to the automotive, mainly the off-road highway vehicles. And here we provide the electronic modules, which will replace the harnesses. So how we grew, so as I explained in the roadmap, so we established a training center at Mysore way back in 2009. And what we also did was we tied up with the local engineering colleges for the talent acquisition. We have a couple of good engineering colleges in Mysore, and we did tie up with them in, wherein we could clearly show the prospective students what are the facilities, what are the developments that they would be doing, and we partnered with the engineering colleges, and we are quite successful in this particular types we have with the engineering colleges. We also had know-how of technology from the parent company. One of the big focus areas that we concentrated after 5 years of our foundation was automation, wherein we did a lot of workflow automations, and in order to have a very good quality and productivity. So this has been a big focus for us all through. We also had a lot of focus and support from the DE top management in order to grow in the Indian operations, and that's how we could open new divisions for the Wuerth Electronik India. Another one of the biggest focus areas for us was to establish and deploy the corporate principles in our day-to-day operations, and this has helped us a lot in for us to grow in a very, very healthy way. So what do we want to do in the future? We have set up a Vision 2026 for all the divisions of Wuerth Electronik, and we plan to have, I would say, a sizable manufacturing unit for a division which is the intelligent connecting systems, catering to the automotive sector, mainly the highway and the off-road highway vehicles. And we would be expanding the sales force for the printed circuit boards, and we envision to have around 1,000 people in the system engineering division. This is the vision that we have set up for the year 2026. So coming to the India experience, so summing up from the year 2005 to 2020, we have had good experience, and I would say from the perspective of the growth that we have had, we did it in a very, very, I would say, stable, and by not going for lateral recruitments, but mainly trying to develop people, mainly recruiting people from the engineering colleges. This is, I would say, is something that we boast of, having a good workforce, which is propelling growth for us in the future. So coming to the end of the presentation, so I would like to thank you. Hopefully I could share some insights into our development between 2005 and 2020. Any questions on our experience? You're always welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Aadya. Now, for your presentation. And now we are opening our forum for the Q&A session. So in case, ladies and gentlemen, you have any questions, please click on raised hand icon and I can unmute you to take your questions. Meanwhile, I have received two questions on chat. First is for Unmesh Lohite. So Unmesh, the first question to you is, what are the triggers for electronics manufacturing in India? How much sustainable it is?
Yeah, right, Ketan, thanks for the question. So the triggers, if we look at the overall market environment of electronics industry, has been, say, the pre-COVID, if we look at it, the import duties on components, which raised the cost of the final product, and also which further got impacted with the COVID, wherein there was even disruptions in the supply chain for those kind of components, which also in some cases led to a complete production halts. So this really triggered need for localizing the supply chains. And in addition, if you look at all these aspects of the industry, there is now a growing sense in the market about de-risking the supply chains from by having complete reliance on certain countries in, say, Asia or Southeast Asia, and identify alternate sourcing destinations. And what we have seen today from the panelists is that there is a strong government will and support for increasing the manufacturing in electronics industry. And with the localizing of the supply chains, there will be optimization of costs over here. Also with ambitious growth targets in the electronics industry, what we saw from Invest India as well, clearly India can become an export hub. So all in all, these are all factors that will contribute towards the sustainability of the industry.
Thank you, Unmesh. Next question came in from Mr. Harsha Aadya. So Mr. Harsha, its question is, what are the changes experienced pre-COVID and post-COVID from demand perspective, as well as from government focus and initiatives perspective?
Thank you very much for the question. Coming to the business perspective, the post-COVID and the pre-COVID, yes, of course, we had a lot of challenges, I would say, from the perspective of running business, and we had to make a lot of alternative arrangements to run the business. The post-COVID, we are experiencing sluggish business. So that's about the business. With the help from the government, of course, we could see that they could really support in terms of giving the helping hand in terms of healthcare systems, which we could really get it for the Mysore training division. And I think this is, I would say that to sum up the pre-COVID and the post-COVID situation that we have had. The business, of course, was sluggish during the post-COVID, but it's improving a little bit better now. It's better now.
Okay. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please click on raised hand icon and I can take your questions. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in for the MIIM webinar. I'll share the presentations of respective speakers after the maybe today or by latest by today evening or tomorrow, with the recorded link of the webinar. In case you would have any questions coming to your mind, so you can just write it to the respective email IDs mentioned in the presentation, or even you can write it to MIIM@indianembassy.de. Look forward to welcome you in the next webinar planned on 25th of November, which is with Maharashtra government. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.